Okay, guys, let's start. Today's webinar. And today we are having a very interesting topic to discuss. I'm extremely excited because this is a topic which we were working on for some time, like I would say like a couple of months, preparing content for you. And we had a chance to invite wonderful speakers who are improving supply chain projects for different companies, multi-million companies all around the world. And today we will be discussing digital twins. So today's topic is supply chain unpredictability, how to respond using digital twin. And thanks for joining us today. And before starting, please let me know how is everything with the connection. Can you see me properly? Can you hear everything? Is everything fine with the connection? Because right now all speakers are from different corners of the world. I am currently in Turkey. Sometimes we have connection problems, so let me know if everything's fine. And let me introduce our speakers for today. So let's start with Maurizio. Maurizio Dezen is our supply chain professional who has more than 20 years of experience in strategic business development, in business digitalizations. And if we're talking about the best, the most robust technology in the supply chain, we're talking about Maurizio, of course. And if I say that Maurizio has more than 20 years of experience in improving supply chain industry, I am right. And when Maurizio introduced himself in more details, I will not be surprised to learn that it's even much more than 20 years of experience. So please welcome our first speaker, Maurizio. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Natalie. Let's keep it at 20 years so I don't feel so old today.
Maurizio, okay. Let's move forward. Let's move forward because actually you make my job right now even more difficult because next speaker has more than 35 years of experience in S&OP implementation. And right now Pablo will start complaining about this introduction. But guys, just think about it. 35 years of experience of S&OP implementation in companies was well-known names, global companies, multinational, multi-million billion companies. So I'm extremely happy to have so well-experienced speakers today because topic, as you can see, is digital twin. This is something which Gartner assumes as a new trend in supply chain. And something we really believe is a new trend if you're talking about supply chain, if you're talking about sales and operation planning. At the same time, this is a topic which is absolutely new to industry. And if you're talking about supply chain, if you're talking about digital twin, everyone is interested, but usually no one knows what is it, right? What is it, how to use it, how to work with digital twin, how complex or how simple it is. So let's actually try to decide. And my name is Natalie. I am happy to be Vice President of Partnership at GmbH Streamline. And let's actually start this webinar. Let's start this interesting and beautiful discussion. But before doing that, can you please share this super secret information about where you're located? Usually, if we have our webinars, we have attendees from different corners of this world. It's Asia, it's US, Latin America, Europe, Canada, so pretty much from everywhere. So just simply say hello, say where you're from, and I'll do my best actually just to read it loud. So USA, United Kingdom, Ohio, Mexico, India, welcome, Bulgaria, welcome, Canada, wonderful, Morocco, Minnesota, Mexico, USA, wonderful guys, wonderful, California, USA, beautiful, actually, this is what I expected, Israel, Chile, welcome Chile, welcome Israel, Brazil, Colombia, Kenya, wonderful, USA, California, wonderful. Welcome everyone, welcome, and please feel free to enter our conversation with your question, with your comments. You're more than welcome to do it. Let's move forward. And let me explain a little bit about our webinar logistics. So usually when we have webinars, we have Q&A session at the end, but I highly encourage you to ask questions during this webinar, because we will be discussing what is digital twin from different aspects, and each aspect is let me say, valuable and important. And your question, if you have a question right now, ask right now. Don't wait till the end of webinar, but of course, we will have Q&A session at the end. To learn more about your personal need, to learn more about what are your challenges, we will have several polls. Again, I highly encourage you to be interactive. Let's have this webinar very interactive and full of right communication. So share with us what is your challenge, and it will help us to shape this webinar according to your needs. And I usually, actually, there is only one question I don't recommend you to ask. Don't ask me if recording will be available. Yes, it will be available. Let me answer this question right now. You will receive all materials in your email. Follow-up email, I believe it will be ready tomorrow. This recording, so you will have it. Feel free to use it, and a lot of different materials you will receive after this webinar. Okay, wonderful. Let's move forward. And, let's stay focused. I do believe that each webinar, each activity is supposed to teach us something. And if we're talking about business, it's absolutely the same. So there will be two things to learn from this webinar, and we will focus on first one. How can innovative artificial intelligence-based technology make supply chain more efficient? And I will do my best to make our experts answer this question. And second is, what is digital twin? All experts and Gartner actually is talking about, okay? So if you're ready, let's move forward. Let's start with the quiz, actually, with first question. What is your greatest supply chain challenge? And right now, so actually we have several answers. I'm sure that most of you have those challenges daily. But if you can just choose which one is the most difficult, the hardest for you, it would be really beneficial. So we have, as usually, inaccurate demand forecast, data model and generation problem, automated replenishment order plans, responding to supply chain unpredictability, teamwork consolidation problem, or capacity planning. So of course there are many more problems and many more challenges, but these are, I would say, those you see actually in your everyday life, everyday routine. So this is actually what we have. And we will also have statistics, and we will be able actually to analyze the statistics as soon as we have it. Right now, let's move forward and let's discuss actually what digital twin is, okay? And do you have any suggestions about it? If you have suggestions about what is digital twin, feel free to write into your, chat if you have your opinion. But actually, from what we have found and what is our expertise when we work with our engineers, we are talking about digital simply as a complete digital copy of all assets, processes, and operational details that go into the supply chain. Maurizio, what is your vision? How do you see actually digital twin?
Well, I think, first of all, there's a big misconcept in the market about digital twin and artificial intelligence. When people read about artificial intelligence, and you need artificial intelligence to really have a digital twin in your company. You think about big brands like Microsoft, Google, they're fighting for the new AI generations. And AI doesn't have to be that complicated. AI is, of course, to build a true AI-based platform like Streamline did, It is complicated. You need the right resources, like high-profile professionals. But once it's done, and if it's properly focused in solving one problem, not solving all problems and bringing a lot of macro external variables to the equation, but laser focus in solving one problem, artificial intelligence is simple and it's cost effective. It doesn't have to cost millions of dollars, and it doesn't. So my comment here, Natalie, is to demystify a little bit that, number one, companies of any, like only large corporations can have access to state-of-the-art AI. That's a mistake. All companies can have access to artificial intelligence as long as it's focused, right? So digital twin is a reality, and it provides a powerful tools to move from the traditional old school type of forecasting and demand planning and move to a state-of-the-art technology. And by saying state-of-the-art, you can make the jump really quick without traumatizing your company in 2 years of implementation. It's easy, it's accessible.
Thank you so much, actually. Thank you, because usually it's very complex and people really mix digital twin and artificial intelligence technology. And actually, before moving forward, let me also define, actually, if you're talking about artificial intelligence approach in digital twin, and if you're talking about artificial intelligence approach in supply chain, when we will be talking about it in this webinar, this is actually what we mean, and I do believe that we have to state it first. So artificial intelligence is used to recognize customer demand pattern and increase forecasting accuracy, right? So if we're talking about demand forecasting, we're talking about artificial intelligence, which is trained to have human-like decision-making behavior. So this is important, right? To increase efficiency, We will also be talking about dynamic simulations today. So we also have the statement here. And right now, actually, let's move forward. And there are several questions which our clients, which companies usually have about digital twin, about improvement. And first one is how to better perform purchasing plans and how to control the whole supply chain. Is it possible using technologies? And Maurizio, I would really appreciate if you can help us with this question.
Of course. So there is the traditional way of demand planning and interacting, and we are kind of invading a little bit the topic of SNOP here about collaboration. It's always labor intensive. I mean, most of the companies, they're using Excel files, and it's just not humanly possible to simulate a great length of time in future in a way that is reflecting the existing dynamic of the market. The name of the game has changed. It's not about accuracy on your forecast anymore, because to be honest, you cannot forecast what's going to happen in the market for the next 6 months. If you can do that, you go to the stock market and you're not doing what you're doing right now. The name of the game right now is reaction time. And to be able to simulate how the company is performing and simulate strategies is critical.
Mm-hmm. So let's elaborate a little bit actually about time machine, because if you're talking about digital twin, right, it's not only about past, it's not only about nowadays, it's also about future. You already mentioned that we have to simulate, we have to have this ability to move forward a little bit to see what will be happening tomorrow, to simulate future, right? And digital twin is digital twin only if we have this ability to do it and if time machine is available. Can you please elaborate? Because again, for you, since you are consulting about, just recently you mentioned that you came from very successful meeting with a client. For you, time machine, when I'm talking about time machine, for you, it's something that you're using on your actually day-to-day, everyday life workflow, right? But for those who are joining us, it may sound a little bit awkward, a little bit strange. So can you please elaborate and make it sound a little bit more, let's say, like user-friendly or something like that? It's not magic. It's the reality of our efficient workflow in business.
Do you want me to demonstrate, or do you want to conceptualize a little bit?
It's up to you. It's up to you. Maybe let's.
I'm a pragmatic person. So let's, instead of talking concepts, let me show you how it works. If I can share my screen here for a second.
Go ahead.
So this is an AI-based system, Streamline. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I'm not describing the whole system, only related to what is affecting the time machine here. So, of course, this is the picture of the company right now, an example company, and this is what we call money tree or product tree, which is highly customizable to reflect the customer operations. So you have all breakdowns for group of products, for subgroup of products in regions, all the way to warehouses and sales channel. So this is customizable, but I just want to emphasize these two numbers here. So the number in green is the AI telling you your excess inventory, money misallocated in inventory that should go back to your bank. And the number in red is the AI telling you what's going to happen in future in terms of your stock outs. So red, these are sales you're about to lose because your lead times and manufacturing plans, they are just not fast enough to follow your sales levels, your forecast levels. And the green number here is just your overstock, considering everything, lead time, shipping, receiving, everything that's happening at the company. Now, based on that, on this picture, you have multiple reports. You have the full picture of your company here. Right now, from historical turnovers, ordering plan, demand plans, forecast performance, this is the present moment. And of course, you can see here the dashboard showing your inventory values, overstock, stock out, and annual revenues. Now, imagine that you're in a board meeting talking strategies with your commercial department, marketing team. So how can you simulate how effective those strategies will be? And so you can just click in a time machine, and now you have the capability of the AI to move you 1 day to the future, 7, 30, 60 days, 90 days, up to 1 year. Let me show you the power of digital twins right now. So we're just traveling 6 months ahead to June, July 2023. And this is fast. We're not talking about days of processing here. Well, we have customers with thousands and thousands of FAQs in less than 1 minute. They can simulate whatever they want. So this is a tool that you can actually use at the executive level to discuss strategies. Imagine the power of that in your day-to-day life when you're planning ahead. So now you see inventory value 6 months ahead, overstock, see what's happening 6 months ahead, stock out values, same thing. And when you move back to demand here, you see the results, the outcome. So, and this is just one strategy. You can launch, you can interact with the system. Pablo is going to give you some good insights about that, how you can throw new numbers into the system, and the AI will create that digital twin of your company. And after doing that, you just go back to your reality here, and you are back to the present. So that's the power of digital twin. And not to mention that all the reports, everything inside the system is moving 6 months ahead of 1 year ahead. So you can actually navigate like historical reports like you are in December 2023 or January 2024. And if you don't want to, if you don't like what you see, go back and change your strategy. It's going to take seconds for you to simulate scenarios. There's no way you can do that without digital twin, without a powerful AI machine. It's not humanly possible unless you have like a couple of thousands of demand planners. But even that, I don't think is possible. See, there is this gap right now in concepts. The market is stuck with a model that's 40 years old in terms of demand planning forecast. If you think about business over the last 40 years, you have quality systems, Six Sigma, lean manufacturing, the internet, even an email is a huge breakthrough in terms of disruption and innovation. But when you put that perspective for demand planning, forecast, and inventory optimization, what do we have in terms of disruption? Excel is not enough. So, and not only recently SNOP. So you can make the jump and actually use digital twin, and it's a completely different environment. It's about reaction time. Okay. So those are my 2 cents, Natalie, on this topic.
Yeah, thank you so much. We already started having actually questions, but question is related actually with accuracy of forecast, and I do believe that we can come back to this question after we listen actually to Pablo's explanations, because 2 next questions which we will be discussing actually are related to that question from our audience. So Pablo, let's elaborate a little bit how can digital twin level up decision making, and what is actually, why do we need what if scenarios and stress test? So I do believe that this is actually really important in order to understand the value, in order to understand why do we need this time machine functionality, and why what if scenarios and stress tests for new concept in business are important. Can you please elaborate?
Sure. Yes, as Mauricio has already mentioned, I mean, systems have been evolving a lot during the last 40 years. And Streamline does a very nice job as a digital twin to do all the number crunching that we need in the supply chain and do the end-to-end planning, okay? And what we're getting from Streamline is one scenario with the choices that we have already made for our supply chain planning. Now, supply chain planning has at least 3 elements: a sales plan, a supply plan, and an inventory plan. And we sometimes have questions about how would it look if we change the assumptions behind the actual reality that we have. And Streamline is very powerful to perform what-if scenarios, which are very much needed in the SNOP process. But you might also be just curious about what happens if some situation changes. And what we're going to do with the digital twin is to actually calculate immediately what would be the changes if we change the assumption, and how our sales plan or supply plan or inventory plan can be affected by changing those assumptions behind the plan.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. Let's also demonstrate actually how it works in practice.
Sure. Let me share my screen.
Take your time. Take your time. Okay. So what we will see right now, actually, what if scenarios, right? And
yeah, okay. Can you see my screen? I guess so.
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is one scenario where we have already probably agreed upon this scenario on the SNOP process, or we have done this supply chain planning all across. Now, let's think that we are going to have some changes on this and how to produce an alternate scenario so we can understand the effects of this scenario. So let's talk about category fashion. Just keep an eye on the stockout number that Mauricio just mentioned here. And we have 700,000 in stockouts. Now, let's think that our commercial people comes with us and they say, oh, can we put a promotion for fashion on February, and we're going to sell 200,000 units? Okay, let's see what happens if we do that. So I will just go to the forecast override and I will put 200,000, and then keep an eye on this number here, 719. Whoops, it went up to over 1 million, more than 1.5 million. So probably it's not a good idea to do it in February. Okay, let's see if we can do March, okay? What happens if I do the same 200 in March? Okay, it came up a little bit, not as much as if I do it on February, but I still will have some additional stockouts. Now, what happens if I do it in April? Okay, so there you go. There is no impact, okay? Now, the beauty of this is that I do that at the category level. Streamline is going to distribute to each of the SKUs according to their contribution, and I will see in which product I'm going to have the problems. And what I can see is that I have most of the problems here in the swimwear, and I can actually identify in which of the warehouses do I have this problem, and it's in New York, okay? So you can track the changes not only at the category level, but also at the very low level that we have in Streamline, and let's say that we can have it all the way down to the channel level. Now, this is a change on demand, but what happens if I have changes in my supply plan? So let me go back to this one here. I will take it out. Now, if I have changes in my supply plan, let's say that one supplier comes and tells me that their lead times has been increased. So let me take a look at one supplier, for example, this one here, which is a t-shirt supplier. And what is the lead time that we have with this supplier? We have a lead time of 90 days, okay? So let me say that for this supplier, all the way down, they come and tell us that we have additional lead times because of supply problems that they are having, and we're now going to go to 120 days. Now, if you look at our on-hand inventories, it is already signaling us where do we have problems, and we actually have problems on this SKU because it's in red. This is going to produce some out of stocks. Now, but what happens if I go to 120 days? So I just simply edit here. Whoops, I got another one with problems here, okay? And I can see the impact of those at the stock out column here, where it is telling me that I'm going to have more than 3,000. So I can very quickly change the variables of my supply, and I will have an immediate calculation of what is the effect of that if that event happens. And I can change many of the variables that you see here, okay? So that's the power that we have, because it has an instant calculation about the impact in our inventories or our stockouts whenever we have changes in our supply planning, whether it is demand or supply or inventory. That's the power we have here.
Thank you so much. Very detailed, and you know, this is actually what our attendees, supply chain experts, are handling every day. So thank you so much, actually, Pablo, for sharing it with us. Let's move forward, and let's talk a little bit about risk management. It was about what if scenarios and risk management. It's approximately the same, but from a little bit different angle. So how can digital twin help with risk management? How can we identify and close this gap between business plan and different various projections? So Pablo, can you also elaborate on this one?
Sure. There are two topics that companies are talking about all the time. One is, where are we standing at this point of time with the actual demand that I have, what I have projected, with the supply that I have at this point of time already scheduled and so on. And that goes out from the S&OP process that we run every month if we have an S&OP process. But anyway, I mean, at the top management level, they always want to know where we're standing today and how does that compare to the budget that we have already committed with the shareholders of the company. Because what the top management wants to do is to fulfill that commitment that we have done with the budget that we created the year before the actual year that we are in. So we can also create scenarios to compare how our projections, our current projections are versus the budget that we have committed to the shareholders of the company. And then after that, what we will have to do is to create actions to close the gaps, and that will come as commercial actions to increase the demand if we need to do so, or increase the supply if that is the case, or capacity, our capacity, or our suppliers' capacity, okay?
And we also have actually a step-by-step guide. Would you like actually to discuss it right now or after a short demo?
No, let me do the demo so we can elaborate on this.
Okay.
I will share my screen again. Okay.
Go ahead.
And let me tell you that this is the same project actually that we had before. Okay. So there are two ways in which companies create their budgets. The easiest one for us if they already made the translation into the sales units, so the budget is shown in sales unit. So if we want to make a scenario about this, in this first case where we have a budget in sales units, simplest way is that I can create a line here for budget. Okay, and I can create a forecast scenario, a forecast version that is called budget here. Now, let's take a look, for example, at consumer goods, okay? Now, let me say that my budget right now is not my statistical projection, but what I have committed in the year before was 250, let's say 250,000. And just for simplicity, I'm going to use the same value for all months. I will propagate the value. Of course, that I can put different values here and I can do massive upload of those, of this information. But just for simplicity for this demonstration, let me use 250. Now, at this point of time, I can take a look before I apply this budget. Let me take a look at how my sales look like. And let me go to the KPIs report and let me aggregate by item category so I can see that for consumer goods, what I have, what is consumer goods is here, okay? So the revenue, the yearly revenue that I have projected right now with my S&OP process is 603 million. Okay, this is what I'm projecting with my S&OP process. Now, I go back to demand, and if I apply this row to my final forecast override, there you go. Now, how it looks now? Oh, it's $676 million. So I have a gap of over $70 million that I need to close for this particular category because my actual projection is below from what I have committed to the shareholders of the company. So that is the simplest case where I have this budget in units. Now, there is another situation where let me do that very quickly. what happens if the company's budget is in dollars? Or there is a very nice feature in Streamline that I can put my budget in dollars, and it will recalculate how many units do I need to sell. So, for example, let's say that this revenue here, that is my S&OP projection, let's say that in my budget I don't have 40, that I have 45 million. So there is a very nice functionality where I put here the number, and then Streamline recalculates how many units do I need to sell, and it will actually distribute again across all the SKUs that I have according to their particular contribution to my business. Now, what I can do is to load my complete budget. So I will change the numbers of my revenue, and I will do a massive upload. So I will change the budget of every one of the categories. So I have created one. Here's a budget that I have created. And if I go to Streamline, I can easily import that. Let me go to the revenue. Here is the revenue. It's the item category. So I can import massively from that particular, from that particular file. So I import, and the numbers are already changed and are already reflected all the way in the revenue, and it calculates for every category how much should I be selling according to that budget that I have just created. And it will actually distribute again all the way down to the different levels that I have in my project. And this is also to compare. I mean, if I go out again back to my KPIs report, I can see how much revenue should I need to cover my budget. So once again, I can compare, let's say that I can do all the company, and the whole company would be selling 1,016,000. So this is what my budget is telling me, and I can easily compare to my base scenario in the same report, and I can find what are the gaps between my budget and my projection, whether it comes from the S&OP or regular plan. And that's something that we can do very quickly, and that answers the question at any time that we are standing for that question.
Thank you so much, Pablo. Thank you so much. Shall we move forward, or you want to add something? Okay.
No.
Mm-hmm.
The beauty of this is that it can also help you to create the budget, because you can go at the category level, create the budget at the category level, and then it will distribute what is the participation across all the elements that are below the category level. And then it's not only to compare, but you can also produce your own budget in a very simple manner, starting from Streamline.
And it gives you visibility. Very important. Again, one more problem Gartner, Forbes, actually many different media are talking about. It's visibility. Difficult actually to control your business if it's not visible. Thank you so much, Pablo, actually for sharing. And there is one more thing I want to discuss today. As already mentioned, digital twins, this is simply digital copy of everything you have in your business, right? This is digital copy of assets, of resources, workflows, and Pablo already demonstrated how we can actually have this copy and have visibility and control over it. And there is one more very important thing. So we have to make sure that we have digital copy of roles and responsibilities in order to make sure that team is working efficiently, team is cooperating, and that there is simultaneous team cooperation all the time. And this is something that is crucial for S&OP process. This is something crucial for supply chain efficiency. And this is this is something I want to discuss. And I will ask your support, actually, Maurizio, if it is possible. So stage is yours.
Okay, perhaps starting with a quick conceptual comment here. So if you really understand S&OP and want to implement S&OP, the backbone of S&OP is about collaboration. It was a methodology created about collaboration between operations, sales, marketing, finances. And that collaboration cannot happen with multiple reports flying around. Just a funny fact, in the master degree, one of my assignments was to interview I had the opportunity to interview dozens of top executives in North America, big companies, and 85% of them confessed to me during the interviews they never read reports. So my point is, you need a single source of truth. You need something dynamic that reflecting the day-to-day of the business, not what happened 2 weeks ago, not what's going to happen 4 weeks from now. You need a picture of what's happening now at your company. That's why the digital twin is so powerful, because then you're changing as you go and you can make decisions as you go and adjust, right? So let me share here. Quick features that can help with that. First of all, in Streamline, we are consolidating everything in one single source of truth. So we connect with multiple ERPs, or we build connectors with new ERPs if necessary, because we want you to take this kind of visualization with maximum granularity. So each item, each SKU is going to have on-hand days of supply, shipping, receiving, lead times. You have KPIs, like Pablo mentioned, for each one of the layers on the money tree, on the product tree. But having said that, when you go to users, you can allocate roles here. For instance, in this case, you can have your sales team and decide that your sales team has access to demand, not inventory, not access to edit anything on your distribution centers, not the inter-site transfers between the distribution centers, but they can have access to reports, dashboards. So you can give the visibility you want in macro levels and attach roles to it. But you can go way better than that. You can create catalogs, and you can tell your, let's say, I'm using the example of the sales team, right? Because I mean, there's always a positive and sometimes healthy attrition between sales department, production, logistics, supply chain. It's good to have, but the gap that cannot be that distance, then the sales departments are forecasting crazy numbers for the future, or they are too conservative or too aggressive, and they are just because they don't have access to the statistics, to the visualization of how the company is performing. And that is difficult to achieve over graphics and Excel. Of course, you can create 3 or 4 graphics and to help the commercial department, but can you do it for 25,000 SKUs? It's just not feasible. So giving access to people to actually have the same source of information is mandatory nowadays, and you can give access for some time. In this case here, I'm simulating that you just open to your sales department access to overwrite the artificial intelligence, and using Pablo's example, create a forecast, let's say for second quarter 2023. Open that for 2 or 3 days, let the guys have fun, and after that, you just click here, and instead of writing, the forecasting is done, or at least the vision of the forecast is done, and you just move to visualization and save. By only clicking here, you can change dozens. There's no limit. You can change the approach of hundreds of users to get access or not. And that can be done immediately. And again, all these changes are online real time, and perhaps making a connection between my initial demo and what Pablo just told us. Pablo was making changes in several layers or branches of the money tree. Imagine the power of the digital twin when you're making those changes, and you can actually, instead of conceptualizing the future, you let the AI drive you to 12 months ahead. So you can see the combination of these micro changes that Pablo so well described to the overview of the company. That's the power of the digital twin. That's the power of artificial intelligence. And you can give access to people to interact with the system in a very simple way. So those are my 2 cents here.
Thank you so much, Maurizio. It is wonderful, really. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing this beauty, this power. This is actually what we really have to learn, because, nowadays it's impossible to stay in business, to compete only with pen and paper and Excel and calculator. Right now, in order to be strong, in order to keep your position, you should use artificial intelligence and innovative solutions. It is true. Let's move forward. And there is one more question I have to both of you gentlemen, and let's summarize a little bit. So if we're talking about digital twin, we already mentioned the digital twin. This is a digital copy of a business, right, of all assets and resources and workflow. And if we're talking about functions, about steps which are enabled by digital twins, this is definitely sensing, viewing, analyzing, simulating. We discussed a lot about simulation, decision-making, of course, and acting. If we're talking about this complex set of steps, usually there is idea that implementation of digital twin is supposed to be hard, complex, and long-lasting. If we're talking about time and if we're talking about complexity, how difficult or maybe how simple is it to implement digital twin in business, different size? Gentlemen, can you please help me with that? Pablo, Maurizio?
Yes, of course. I mean, the implementation of digital twin, as Mauricio mentioned, does not need to be a painful process for the company. So my experience on doing these implementations is very nice, because it's very quick. Most of the time, the main constraint is getting the information into the system, but after that, all the number crunching and simulation is available for everybody. So it's a matter of a few weeks to implement a digital twin. And by comparison with other solution, Streamline is not really expensive at all. It's actually very economic, and the functionalities are very complete. So it doesn't take a lot of money or time to do that. That's essentially the bottom line.
And to drop a number on this concept, I was just leading an implementation of a company that ships close to 100,000 items per week, so thousands of SKUs, pretty strong in e-commerce. And in 3 weeks, we got the system at least at a stage that they can start making decisions using it. It was just about connecting the dots, and it's simple. Why? Because we think about it. We just need basic information. We're not creating data. You already have the data. It's about your sales, when your sales, to when, the lead times, the inventory levels, shipping, receiving. You already have the information. It's just connecting to the artificial intelligence. So it's a pretty straightforward process.
Thanks, gentlemen. Actually, it sounds really, I would say, unrealistic. If I wouldn't communicate with your client and with another partners who are doing this implementation, I wouldn't believe it, because it sounds, from one point of view, artificial intelligence, digital twin, and from another, easy, simple, efficient, and affordable, right? So, but guys, this is true. Again, this is what kind of feedback we receive from our client just daily. Okay, let's move forward. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for sharing this, actually those insights. We have one more poll, and this is about priority level for adopting innovative artificial intelligence-based solution in your company. So again, as we already discussed, right now to stay in business, to be competitive, it is not enough to use just pen, pencil, and Excel. We need to use something more advanced. And what is the priority in your business for solution implementation? Is it top priority? And we can say that you are working on it right now, you're looking for a solution. Is it high priority? And let's say that next 6 months, you will be prioritizing it. Maybe it's important and you have a little bit of time, like 9 months, and maybe it's moderate priority. It's also possible. So if you give us this answer, it will help us, again, to generate more content for you, to prepare workshops for you, to move forward with you, to help you and support you with everything. Thank you so much, actually, for answering those questions. Let's move forward. And let me actually, considering many cases, considering experience of different supply chain consultants and clients, if you're talking about next steps, what do we have to do? I would highly recommend you try and understand where there is a gap in your supply chain in your company. Please try to define quantitative and qualitative goals, because just understanding all of you, you're supply chain experts, you do understand that you have gaps and intuitively understand where, right? But what is important for you to understand quality and quantity. What exactly you have to improve and which figures you want to see by the end of the day. And for that, with high probability, we'll need to consult with expert. And I'm really happy that I have this power actually to bring to you experts which working with it just on daily basis. I'm really happy that I have this opportunity. And as a next step, you will need to build a strategy. Now, what I want to tell you is that we do have opportunity actually to book consultation with both Maurizio and Pablo. You will see links to their calendars right now. And if I'm talking about Maurizio, you're working in North America, you're working in USA, Canada, and additionally in Brazil, correct? And if we're talking about Pablo can consult also in many countries. If we're talking about Spanish-speaking countries, the same, Mexico, Latin America, but we are working globally. And usually I say that companies all around the world have same problem. Right now, we don't have local economies. We have global economy, but sometimes maybe local languages. That's it. So please use this opportunity and book this meeting with Maurizio or Pablo, book consultation, and try to understand actually where the gap is. Please let me know, do we have calendars right now, links to calendars in our chat? I do believe so. So let's move forward. Let's move forward. I told you that the most important actually is learning, studying. So what I want to give to you as handout, we prepared ebook about digital twin, and we have case studies, we have definitions, we have a lot of statistics over there about what is digital twin, how it works, what benefits it can bring. So it will be available for you. Download, because again, studying and learning about industries is what we need every time in order to be competitive. We also prepared for you beautiful article, actually a lot of articles, but I have chance to introduce to you only 2 because we don't have too much time. This is one about digital twin. It was published on Forbes and you will have link to it. And one about artificial intelligence. And also it was published on Forbes. I highly recommend to read it to move forward. And guys, right now we have QA session. We still have 5 minutes, so let's move forward with questions really quickly. Okay, first question is about accuracy of prediction. Does the system learn from error between prediction and reality? Maurizio, can you help with this one?
Yes, I was anxious to answer the question I saw in the chat before, and I love that question. First of all, a direct answer. Yes, the AI will not only learn and adjust everything, but is reforecasting the whole company after every sale that is happening. And this is, I know it sounds crazy, but it actually what it does. So it's like you're reforecasting the whole company in every levels, in every categories, geographies, distribution centers, channels, every time you make a sale. And the way the AI works, you can be forecasting, the AI will suggest a forecast like a constant level, but after changing a different pattern happening, the AI might decide that a seasonality pattern is the best way of forecasting. So it changes as we go. And I love the following question as well, which is, how about accuracy? And I want to provoke our attendees on this a little bit. Why are we so obsessed about forecast accuracy? Don't judge me bad here. I firmly believe that accuracy is important in forecasting. For what? For demand, for capacity planning, manufacturing capacity planning, targets, cash flow management. You need to have like a north, a direction of your company. But again, why are we so obsessed with that all the time? It's because my answer to that is simple. We never have the tools to challenge that. How can you actually adjust your forecast 24 hours after you're locked in a room making the forecast for the next 3 months or 6 months? I have an example of that. I was talking to Natalie and Pablo before we started here about a company that is using Streamline for 4 or 5 weeks only now. They have one lead item. They have 25,000 SKUs. And they have one item in that they forecasted 170 pieces per week on sales. And it was stuck, a flat 170 pieces per week. But the market wanted more, and the AI captured that. So I told them, erase that forecast. Let the market dictate what you can do. And now the AI is forecasting 396. I remember the numbers because I was looking at this a few minutes before the webinar. It's almost 400 pieces per week they are selling right now because the AI is actually reforecasting everything. So look at this example. The market wanted more of their products, but their traditional demand planning and forecasting was stuck with a constant level, and it was now allowing them to sell more because, again, this is what they were producing. So yes, accuracy is important for the big plans, but the name of the game has changed. It's about reaction time, and the AI will give you that. It will react on every time you're shipping, receiving, changing a lead time, or making a sale. The whole system is reforecast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Actually, we started to have so many questions. The same from Dennis. So let me read this one. The system works on supplier lead time, which is theoretical. What about on-time delivery and real lead time? Could it see on ERP this data and recalculates the real lead time? Really quickly, and guys, please book meetings with experts to discuss your questions in more details, because we just cannot answer all of your questions, but we can give you a unique opportunity to have consultation with Maurizio and Pablo. So Maurizio, since this is a question from the same attendee, can you respond about lead time?
Yes, Streamline will capture the lead times that is recorded in your ERP. We are considering inside the company to actually create that kind of dynamic of just reading lead times as they happen. But supply chain has been so chaotic recently that we are afraid to give the artificial intelligence the capability to change the lead times all the time. We do have inside the AI mechanism to accommodate lead time variances. So you can tell the system that if a supplier is not reliable, you instead of 10 days or 20 days, you can tell the system, hey, I want a buffer of 30 days for this supplier. And the AI will recalculate everything for you.
Thank you so much. And let's answer one more question and before finishing, how to handle the demand stories that will not be repeated. Pablo, can you help with this one? How to handle the demand stories that will not be repeated?
Yeah, the demand stories that will not be repeated. We can manage that as a reorder point if the history is not good to predict the future. We can make the parameters in Streamline to do that like a reorder point. So every time that we are below a certain amount of inventory, we just order more product. So the Streamline works also in either make to order or make to stock kind of environments. So that's not a problem.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Actually, it's time to finish. I would really love to make to have this webinar a little bit longer, because it's extremely interesting conversation, very interesting topic, great experts, and I really like questions that you're asking. But at the same time, we do have to respect time of our attendees, experts, actually everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, please use your chance, book consultation with our experts. Let us know if any help is needed. Give us your feedback regarding articles we recommended, we have written to you. Please make sure you download ebook, which we were creating again. It took several months for us to gather all that information, and personally, I was working on it, so I will be happy to have your feedback. And join us for next webinars about digital twin, about supply chain improvements, about market, how everything's happening, especially right now. Market globally is just shaking because of many things, many different events, you know it. So happy to see you soon. Thanks for joining us, and let's move forward. Hope to see you next events. Thank you,
everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
Pablo.
you, everybody.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.